So I'd like to introduce to you Josh Brekenfeld, who's one of our trustees and also sits on our marketing committee, and Liz Robinson, who is a new trustee and also sits on our audit committee. So I'm just going to talk to them a little bit about why they got involved with insurance charities. So I'll start with you, Josh. Could you decide what made you start you volunteering with insurance charities?
Do you know what? I think it's so important that people have hobbies and opportunities that they pursue outside of their daily life. And for me, working in the insurance industry, having a direct outlet to a charity that was so intimately connected was very important. And so I really leapt at the opportunity to help any way that I can to connect, sort of what I do at my daytime with sort of that need that I think everybody should have a good, proper outlet outside of work as well.
Great. Now, how long have you been involved, Josh?
It's been a few years now. I had an interview process where I was selected to be both the board member as well as you mentioned, a committee member on the marketing committee. And I think I'm in year 2 of my 3-year term.
I think you're right. And Liz, you're quite new, so can you just explain why you got involved with the charity?
Yes, so it was a fantastic opportunity, as Josh said, to get involved in something outside of my usual day-to-day job, but also I feel just I'm in a really fortunate position and actually giving something back and using my skills that I've been training towards. So I'm a chartered accountant, and actually being able to use those skills and apply them to a charity and give something back was really important to me.
Absolutely. So can you both explain a little bit about your volunteering role and what's actually involved? So if you start with you, Josh, just talk a bit about being on the board and what that actually means, and then also about the marketing committee and sort of what skills you might bring to that and working with the other people.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think the board meets on a fairly set schedule, as does the marketing committee. And generally what it requires is, number one, you have to do your reading. So when the papers come out, you make sure that you're thoughtfully engaged on the subject matter. And so when you're in your board meetings, you're providing input to the business, which is really looking for guidance from the board to make sure that what they're doing and how they're thinking about things is the right way. And I think in the marketing committee, it's a bit more of a hands-on experience. So we actually build and shape the way that the charities talks about itself in digital communications and through our other media platforms. And so it's a great opportunity to leverage my data work experience where I run a communications shop and actually apply it into the charity setting. So I wouldn't say it's not a labor-intensive process. There are times of the year where there's a bit more to do, but I think it actually dovetails very nicely with work commitments I already have.
Great. And Liz, what about you? I know you've touched on the fact that you're an accountant, so I'm going to talk a bit more about that.
Yeah, so I sit on the audit committee as well as the board, and as part of that committee, we have monitoring duties where we go and have a look at what's been happening over each quarter and making sure that all the processes have been followed. So I was able to go into the office last week, which was fantastic, actually meet everyone, much easier than over Zoom. And that just really allows you to get, I suppose, into the nitty-gritty of the application process and understanding the kind of people who are applying for funding and actually how they are assessed and looked at.
Excellent.
It's really interesting.
Good. Quite different to the day job, I would imagine.
Absolutely, yeah.
Both of you, quickly, how do you find the volunteering so far fits in with your work commitments? I know you're both busy people, but do you find it okay? I know, Josh, you said that there's set meetings. Do you know about those obviously well in advance, when they come out at the beginning of the year? So does that work for you both?
I mean, absolutely. I mean, number one, I think it's so important that people have interests outside of the workplace, especially in this industry. I find that, a lot of folks sort of come in, they do their role at their day job, and then they go home and that's it. And this is a wonderful way to sort of expand on that and have a bit of a hobby. But, and the charity works with you in terms of always making sure that dates are in the diary and that sort of stuff. But I think the real key in terms of maintaining that balance is just to be open and communicate, make sure the charity knows when you're time poor or when you're time rich. And they can, and folks are very happy to work around that. They're interested in hearing my thoughts and my expertise. They're not interested in running me to the ground. So, you just stay open and honest with people. And it's a wonderful way to actually maintain balance in your life by having these commitments as well. Great.
And Liz, what about you?
Yeah, I found it really useful in terms of actually those set dates, as Josh was saying, but also my company has a volunteering policy whereby there's 2 days a year you can use for volunteering, which I hadn't really realised or understood, and actually tapping into that is really useful. And actually I think a lot of companies are really open to that, actually allowing their employees, because they see the benefit as well. So I think if you're able to use that time and actually put it towards a charity, then that's great.
That's a great point, absolutely. Both of you, what was the most interesting or sort of surprising thing you found about volunteering with insurance charities?
I mean, I'll go first. I think selfishly with the insurance charities, it was amazing to me. You sort of come into it thinking that primarily it's a grant giving organization, but actually when you get into it and you recognize that the charity meets each of its commitments in a bespoke way. So, it's not just financial grants. It's really using creativity to get to the core of what would make the applicant, what would bring it the most relief, the most success. It could be a washer and dryer, it could be glasses, it could be classes at university. I'm really amazed every single day at how nimble the organization is in response to the specific needs of people that come to our doors. So it's a constant marvel to me.
Me too. And Liz, what about you?
Absolutely, I think it's the work that's been done by the insurance charities. I mean, just talking to Joy, to Phyllis, actually the applicants that are coming through, meeting them, understanding those challenges, I think it's just amazing, and really enjoying learning about that process and how can get involved in different ways, really.
Great. So finally, both of you, what would you say to anyone thinking about getting involved? And I'd like to sort of say that we're always recruiting. It's an ongoing process. So we have the board, we have a marketing committee, and we have an audit committee that, as I said, Liz sits on, but also we have a grants committee too. So actually looking at those applications coming through the door. So we would encourage people to look out for those opportunities. We always post them on social media. And, and if you think of somebody in your professional networks that might be suitable, then we'd encourage you to share it. So just to close down then, so what would you say to anyone that's thinking, oh, I want to do something different, a bit, aside from my day job? What would you say? Liz, do you want to go first?
Sure. I mean, absolutely. I mean, what is there to regret, really? Nothing. It's a fantastic opportunity, and I'd recommend it to anyone.
Very good. And you, Josh, finally?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you should absolutely get involved, and also discuss it with the people around you. Like, tell your boss, talk to your partner or your spouse. Make sure that folks know what you're looking for and how you're looking for it. And you'll be amazed both at how doors will open, but also how people will be accommodating to allow you to do that. So I'd say absolutely go for it.
Great. Well, thank you very much, both of you. It's been really interesting to talk to you, and we hope that we can encourage others to get involved. So thank you both. Take care.